Welcome in, everybody. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You know, all the YouTubey things. Forget what you think you know about justice. Welcome to the Virtual Juror, where snark is reality, but evidence is royalty. Where at first we look at the FACS, or Facts and Conjecture Shared, before we get into the real stuff. Day 2 of this spectacular legal circus was a relentless ping-pong match, oscillating between the defendant's bizarrely placid claims of "where's the proof of premeditation" and a catastrophic digital footprint that screamed planning. What began as a procedural slog through financial records ended as a public roast of the defendant's intellect, courtesy of a browser history that served as a murder planning concierge service. The morning session established the foundation of a life unraveling. A mountain of stipulations involving 5 banks, 2 credit unions, and Brian's prior federal fraud conviction painted a picture of a polished con man living on the edge. While the Walshes possessed nearly $250,000 in retirement accounts, their day-to-day existence was a hot mess. Activity that came to a sudden, eerie halt on December 31st, 2022. Cohasset Police Sergeant Schmidt retook the stand to navigate Brian's self-serving narrative. The jury heard recorded interviews where Brian claimed his wife Anna left for a work emergency, a lie, and that he couldn't call her a ride because he had misplaced his phone, a convenient excuse. This masterclass in circular logic culminated in the tone-deaf suggestion that Anna was merely at a spa. Despite Brian admitting the idea doesn't really track, the defense briefly introduced a ransom angle via bizarre emails from a Richard Walker. But the prosecution quickly dismantled the kidnapped by a West African prince theory by clarifying the IP address geolocated to Nigeria and admitting that they did not suspect Brian was behind the emails. The proceedings shifted in the afternoon from subtle innuendo to a digital hatch job when MSP Trooper Nicholas Guarino took the stand. With the precision of a forensic accountant, Guarino walked the jury through a search history found on Brian's MacBook and his son's iPad, which shared an Apple ID. It showed a diary of depravity that suggests Brian labored under the delusion that incognito mode is a magical shield against forensic analysis. While the rest of the world slept off New Year's Eve hangovers, Brian Walshe was apparently conducting a shocking self-help seminar on homicide. Between 4:52 a.m. and 5:48 a.m., the curriculum began with best ways to dispose of a body, how long before a body starts to smell, and 10 ways to dispose of a dead body. Searches that read less like a criminal mastermind and more like a panicked independent enthusiast trying to fix a leaky sink. By 6:24 a.m., a quick pivot to the financial windfall. Brian queried how long for someone to be missing for inheritance, seemingly prioritizing his payout over his spa theory. Then there came the cleanup phase. The searches spiraled into a macabre slapstick routine involving chemistry and biology. He Googled, how long does DNA last? Is it possible to clean DNA off a knife? Can identification be made on partial remains? How to dispose of a cell phone? And how to clean blood from a wood floor. Then came the baking soda logic, and perhaps the most delusionally optimistic search of the day. He asked, can baking soda make a body smell good? Suggesting that he thought a box of Arm & Hammer could mask a decomposing human like a stale refrigerator. Next was the dismemberment. By January 2nd, the queries turned gruesome, including hacksaw, best tool for dismembering a body, how long for a dismembered body to decompose, can you identify a body with broken teeth, and a search for the trash bag killer Patrick Kearney. But prior to all of this were the divorce thoughts. On December 27th, in what can only be described as "let me tell you what I was thinking before without telling you," Brian Googled "best state to divorce for a man" and "best divorce strategies for men," because nothing says "I love my wife" like looking up the best states for men to get a divorce. The defense attempted to counter this by saying the family was trying to protect their assets. We're still on the fence. The defense attempted to mitigate the damage by suggesting searches for divorce and cheating wife meant the act was a crime of passion, and that the searches were only on the MacBook and not the iPad itself. However, these arguments were crushed by the sheer volume of incriminating data. In conclusion, our meta-ironic reminder that would make a screenwriter blush, Brian searched, "Can you be charged with murder without a body?" The answer, as he's currently discovering from the defendant's table, is a resounding yes. Brian Walshe's biggest mistake wasn't just the crime, but trusting his secrets to a device that turned out to be the star witness against him. Well, that's all we have. So as always, love your family, love your pets, love your neighbors, and we'll see you next time.